Yeah, we knew probably in the June, July time of that summer that the Queen would be coming. The biggest job was getting everything ready because the security at that stage was very, very high level because it was a time when the Irish problems were starting and they had snipers in the trees around in the woodland there. A couple of policemen came into my house to check there was nobody in there, that my wife and children weren't being held under duress and all sorts of things. But no, it was, and then of course the county council were in charge of it, the county council, so it was run from County Hall, Lord Lieutenant, Lord Rhodes of Saddleworth, Chairman of the County Council, Chairman of the Agriculture Education Subcommittee, Chairman of the they were all there. But one of the interesting things to me was always that to meet the Queen, which was at the front door here, which is now your back door, was the Chairman of the local parish council, who was a farmer who farmed the farm where John Werry now lives. I can't just remember the name of it. But so it was interesting that that the college now, still call it we, the college now farms the land that the Chairman of the County of the Parish Council, who was one of the first to welcome the Queen here.
And on the day itself, how did the day go? I guess a very prestigious but also a very nerve-wracking occasion.
It was a very nerve-wracking occasion. We had, we were waiting, the Queen first of all went to Lancashire University because that was about the same stage of development. She was opening the university there, and it was a time when there was quite a bit of student unrest and there were problems, and they tried to interfere with the Queen's tour at Lancaster. And so when she came here and there was such a support of our students were so royalist, I think she was quite relieved and impressed. And she had a cup of tea here in what is no longer now, it used to be the old dining room, and you've built a completely new dining room, but that was, she had a cup of tea in there with the sort of dignitaries and so on.
Can you remember the moment, obviously we can see the picture behind you there, Tony, can you remember the moment where you actually met the Queen?
Yeah, I didn't expect actually to be given that opportunity. I mean, the principal obviously and all the officials, the governors and so on were going to meet her, but we had put on this display in what is upstairs now in your student hub alongside the lecture theatre, and she made a speech in the lecture theatre, an official opening speech, and pulled the cloth because the plaque that you've just taken the photograph of wasn't actually there. She pulled the curtains aside in the lecture theatre, and then we put it in that place there after weeks, 2 or 3 days after she'd gone. But then she came upstairs to view this exhibition, and we were asked to line up, and myself and the student president were the guys who met her up there and sort of explained to her what was going on. And it set it off to a good start, because I mean the problem is when you come into a building like this, as we did, you bring a crowd of people in, students, and there is nothing, there is no tradition, there is no events established, so we had to start from little scratch, if you like, with sports teams and so on. And then the students said, well, what about a rag? So we helped them, and we established a rag week, and all these traditions came along, and you had to establish, and they had to get to know the rules for the hostels and so on. We tried not to have many rules, but you needed to have a certain level of understanding, really. So it all moved on from that, but that had gone very well, and people were proud that the Queen had been here and opened it. But to go back to it, Joe Blossom unfortunately went down with Parkinson's disease in about 1964, 5, something like that. So he was, when we were doing all the development work with preparing for Myerscough, poor old Mr. Blossom was starting to suffer, and he couldn't concentrate for very long periods, and so Frank Peregrine took the lead, and myself and others supported him through that. But Frank was he was nationally known as an agriculturalist. He was a great speaker, in demand, and he could stand up virtually and speak anywhere, any time about anything. He was a Welshman with a true Welshman's ability to communicate. But yes, he was involved. He was the driving force behind it all. I've looked on this college as it's been home to me, as well as it's been my life. When I started, I came here, and I was lucky. I was only 16. My parents had died, and I got into the college, and the staff were brilliant. The original staff. Frank Peregrine was vice principal when I started as a student in 1953, and he and a guy called Harvey McGee and Ray Weston were the very few members of staff. Only about 4 then at Winmarleigh. I think you're 300 and some now. But they encouraged all of us, and we worked very closely with the farm bailiff and so on, like the likes of Bernard Rimmer, and a chap called John Nelson was the bailiff at Winmarleigh, and he was a very good farmer. He hadn't any technical education himself, but he'd grown up with it, and he would encourage you as a student. He would tell you off and all, but he would encourage you. And those people gave me a tremendous start in life, and I enjoyed my university as well, and I had a great professor there, Professor Matt Cooper. He's long dead now. But I came back, and I had a will to put something back into it. And of course, to see this today, and the many students that I still see them. I mean, now and again I go down and have a pint in the Cartford Inn there at St Michael's, at Little Eccleston. And you'd be surprised how many students would just be sat there and they, hello, how are you? And they'd talk fondly about the place. And that's all I want really, is in this office, and my desk used to be across this corner. And he came in and he said, I've just come to say, Kath said, this John, whatever his name is, here to see you. And can he come and have your time? And I said, yeah, of course I have. And he came in, and he just said, I've come to thank you. He was now a millionaire with a very big grain import-export company. And he said, if it hadn't been for you, I'd have been in jail. And it was funny, the other night, the Saturday night, there was a young woman, well, she's not a young woman anymore, she's in her 50s, 60s, and she said, she was telling her pals, she said, Tony Fox gave me the greatest bollocking I ever had in my life. And she said, it turned me round, and this is the sort of thing when you think, well, in a little way, it maybe helped.
So how would you like to be remembered here then, Tony?
I'd just like to be remembered as Tony Fox, I think. I walked out the 31st of August 1997, and I was quite despondent. And Lorna Tyson met me down the drive there, and I couldn't talk to her. But I'd left the keys on the table, a little note for John Mobley, and it said, I hope you enjoy your time here as much as I have, and if you need any help, don't forget I know where the drains are.